Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Steve Cunningham with Spidelian coming at you tonight, 10th, the October 15th, 2025, 9:33 p.m. Happy St. Teresa of Avila Day for everyone using yours, all you Carmelites out there as well. Some people might not know St. Therese is the French name of St. Teresa. So that's another little combination right there for you. You might have thought, like, why is he still having Rona stuff in the opening? This came out 2 days ago. Rona may be messing with your sperm, how it can affect your unborn kids, according to a new study. Again, we just start right off the world going clownish right off the bat. That's the way we roll here. Poland's beer industry is in trouble. Just like neighboring Germany, Poland's beer industry is reeling with slightly different factors at play in the Polish market contributing to the decline. The beer season that just ended was disappointing. I didn't know there was a beer season. Unfortunately, in the first half of the year, we saw a decline exceeding 6%, says Mr. B, Director General of the Union of Brewing Industry Employers, Polish breweries. The summer months brought no improvement, and in fact, deepened the decline. It was the weakest season for the brewing industry in a very long time. Among the causes, he noted exceptionally unfavorable weather. I wonder what the weather was like, as well as broader issues with the alcohol market overall, namely lower alcohol consumption. He told ISB News, as cited by Dorezi. Sounds like a new rapper. New, at the top 10 Casey Kasem, Dorezi with broader issues. I don't know. For some time now, we've been observing a steady trend of reducing alcohol consumption among large groups of consumers. Some are giving up alcohol altogether, while others are limiting their consumption. That's a good thing. I never heard of a beer season. This was sent by a local, one of the guys that's a fan of the show. And if you guys out there want to follow his lead and send me any news that I might not have seen, and you're like, hey, man, this would be good for Clown Plant, tag me. Just do that whole at Census Fidelium or at One Arm Steve, whatever it is. Tag me in it. I'll find it. And thank you for the assist on there. And especially since this happened in my favorite city, Charleston, South Kakalaki. We need freedom and association more than ever. It's called Libs Hate Us. Found this one, the 7-Eleven takeover in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm going to assume this was in North Charleston because that's I'm in that crowd. I can see the candlesticks being a part of it. I'm just kidding. I'm going to assume this is North Charleston because North Charleston is not like regular Charleston. It's a little different. It's not Charleston. Let's just say that. Very rough area. Here is Beck, Glenn Beck, right here, talking about Meet George AI. Let me be quiet, Beck. I'm developing it right now so you can have a one-on-one conversation with the founders in your language. No hallucination, no bias, just answers drawn solely from the largest collection of founding era documents outside the National Archives and Library of Congress. Beck, that would backfire on you if it's actually real, because someone would say, hey, did you mean for this thing to get that big? No. What would you have done if the government got as big as it right now? We would have seceded 200 years ago. If you knew this was going to go up, if you knew the Constitution was going to lead to this, what would you have done? We would have burnt the document. If it was real, answers for this, Beck would be destroyed. What do you think about the president being able to have 200 executive orders and bomb anybody they want? We would have dismantled that right then. No way that's happening. But you guys are allowing that to happen? What is wrong with you people? Yeah. AI can be programmed to say whatever they want. Remember this. And of course, technocracy is not for everything. It's just for everything else. No one's going to trust when AI says, Mr. Beck, and you shouldn't either. Will AI George disclose Freemason rituals? Wait, didn't you warn us the other day about AI? Now AI is good when we do it. That's fine. I think someone might have did that. Uh, what does George think about a relationship to Israel? He would get blasted by his own guy. Yeah, see how would George AI approach things like foreign aid, and foreign military entanglements? We'll see. Yeah. Uh, yeah, it's funny to see the people in the comments say the whole same thing. You wouldn't like that George AI. You wouldn't like the real George. Let's see. This is on the incident. Oh yeah, we can hit the English button. I'll use the AI to translate this for you. The Vatican Library among forgeries from what? I don't know what that came out to be. Anyway, do you remember the story that happened a couple of days ago about the Muslims that asked for prayer rugs or to have a room to go pray? Okay, the thing is, everyone's going with the story, and everyone's doing for clickbait is Vatican created a room for Muslims now to come in and pray anytime. So look, what is it? So in the clickbait titles that everyone's posting around, you would assume that the Vatican just created a room 24/7, 365 for Muslims to come in and pray at with mats and all that. The real story is they were in the library doing some work, and they asked somebody if they could have a room to go pray in. And the guy, and I guess it was a priest, I guess it was him, and the priest, being, I guess, just wanted to be kind and charitable to others, decided to give them a room and open the room, and that they did their thing, and they came back out and did work, and they were gone. That was it. There's no room in the Vatican dedicated for Muslims, none. So the clickbait stuff is Vatican's created a room for Muslims. No, didn't happen that way. It's, again, and no, it's, would I have done that? No, probably would not. It's just like the whole thing about the everyone getting on JP2 for kissing the Quran. As one priest said, "No, I would have kissed. I would have dropped it on the floor and peed on it." That was a direct quote. It was a great line. I won't tell you who said it. You don't know who said it either. But even if you guess, you won't know. Anyway, that was a great line. But anybody can hindsight go, "Oh yeah, if I was there, I don't know what y'all would do there." I mean, I've dealt with 30 Muslims at one time, evangelizing them. It was fun. Got flipped off a few times. It was the worst that could happen. I actually, went after Prophet Muhammad quite a few times, to the point that it was kind of like I told the one dude, "I thought you were supposed to kill me for me saying that." He didn't do anything, which, I mean, I'm glad he didn't. But yeah, I mean, I went after those guys went after them pretty hard for just being, 10, 20, 30 versus one. But they weren't going to, I mean, I didn't think they were going to do anything anyways. But it was fun. But how many people that say, "Oh yeah, I would have done it"? None of those guys that say, "Oh yeah, I would have done it," have ever been in that situation anyway to begin with. I would have done it. You type a keyboard, probably would pee yourself if you went. And it's all those guys that go into the thing like, "I can't wait for the Crusades." Those guys are the ones that be running. If a crusade actually happened and they were actually the first bullet that whizzed by their head, you'll find them by finding the urine trail where they're hiding. Those are the guys that are like, "Oh yeah, I'm big and bad." If you have to tell everyone you're big and bad, you're not big and bad. Good job preaching to Muslims. It wasn't really preaching. It was more like smacking them around, really. It was great. I had Christopher Check at Catholic Answers send me was it 100 answers for Islam? One of their Islam books. And I told him what I'm going to do is give it away to all these guys. And he goes, "This is fantastic. I'll send it to you." So he sent me boxes of these books. So anybody would I see go to the Muslim stand, I would give them, "Hey man, you need this book right here too." It's the Catholic Answers to Islam, because I didn't have any Bibles, because the chancery, which was down the street, wouldn't give me any Bibles to get away. These guys had troughs of Qurans, but I couldn't get a Bible to save my life. I would ask the guys, "Hey, would you guys spare, come on, you got any Bibles I could give away here?" "Nope, you got to buy them yourself. Here, we don't have any." And then charge us. Then they rented out this gigantic multiplex Coliseum for millions of dollars 2 weeks later, that for an idea that some priest had in Denver that absolutely flopped after 2 weeks, and that guy got transferred, and it was just hysterical. Anyways, I did get a photograph with the Muslims with me holding the Lepanto flag with them. I had to ask them. My girl, we were fiance at the time, my wife now. When we get done, it was on my birthday, and we went to Steak and Shake, I think, for dinner. It was a Waffle House. I don't think they have Waffle House out there. And she looked at me. No, it's just a regular mom and pop pancake shop. And I looked at her. She goes, "What?" I go, "I'm going to ask the Muslims to take a photo with the Lepanto flag." Do you guys ever seen that? Let me see if I can pull that up. And she was like, "You're not going to do that." I go, "You darn right, I'm going to ask them." Apologize. No, that's not it. Evangelization. So before they got to leave, I asked them, "Hey guys, I'm glad you guys were good sports throughout the time. You think I could get you with a photo with the Lepanto flag?" Because on my tent, I had the Lepanto flag up flying next to the Muslims, and the National Guard was to my left. And people would go, "Man, that's a cool flag." I go, "You want me to tell you what this flag is? These guys don't know what this flag is." And I would tell it was at a secular festival, and I would tell everybody about the Battle of Lepanto. And by the end of the story, they're crying, laughing, because it's a beautiful sunny day, and the flag is just blowing in the wind on top. I zip tied it up so it would stand on top of the tailgate tent. And even the National Guard was going, "That's cool." It was like the ultimate troll. Literally, they would just have to look and they see it. Now, they wouldn't touch anything that had a cross on it, and which I tried giving a couple times to them. Let me see. Here it is. Let me share screen. Here's the photo. Here it is right there. So that's my tent's literally is, if you see the bench, our tent was the bench on that side of the bench. So theirs was right there. And you see him just smiling. And I wanted to see if they would hold the flag. Hey, can you just hold the flag out? They wouldn't do it. So we got the hold. I go, "We're not going to do anything funny with it. We're just going to take a photo. How about that?" I told a priest about it. I sent it to him. He sent it to Father Z. He goes, "Oh, I got to send it to him. Can I send this to it?" They just loved it. It was great. Where is my post now? So, anyways, yeah. What would I have done? I probably told them, "Sorry, we don't have any demon rooms for you. If you want to pray your demon, go outside." No, like I said, I've actually done stuff like that, so maybe I would. Anybody that hasn't done stuff like that, I don't know if they would actually do it when the time comes. Goodbye. Hegseth shows legacy media outlets the door amid revolt against new Pentagon press policy. A growing list of news organizations with access to Pentagon briefings have fully rejected a new Defense Department or Department of War policy that would require journalists to sign a pledge promising not to seek unauthorized materials and limiting their access to certain areas unless accompanied by an adult or official. In essence, it's part of a continuing crackdown on leaks. So most of the people have not signed it. Signing One American News. Isn't that bad? And Jack, isn't all those guys? That's their group? That's the only one to sign it. Is the cheerleaders not signing? New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, the AP, Reuters, Atlantic, CNN, NPR, The Guardian, Newsmax, Washington Times, Washington Examiner, Task and Poll, Breaking Defense One, the Financial Times, The Hill, and Politico. I think even the Fox News hasn't even signed it. So maybe they'll just kick everybody out, but Jack, he'll be the only one there. Islam must adapt to Sweden. Swedish Deputy Prime Minister urges public burqa niqab ban, whatever niqab is. Sweden's Deputy Prime Minister Eva Busch, speaking of beer, has called for a nationwide ban on burqas and niqabs, whatever, in a public place. saying the country must wake up from its naivety, naivety. What's up, folks? About Islamism and act decisively to protect Swedish values and social coercion. The Christian Democrats, KD, if you're nasty, leader told Afton Bladed that she wants legislation prohibiting the full face coverings in streets, squares, shops, healthcare facilities, and other public settings. A step beyond previous local attempts to ban them in schools and public workplaces that were struck down under current law. You should be able to meet for real if you were on the street, if you are shopping in the square or taking the children to the health center. Then I don't want to meet someone who has covered their entire face, unless we're talking about the sniffles, and then you got to cover your whole face, and then we got to make sure we squeeze. Oh, I'm sorry, we're getting off topic. Trump again lambasts very despectful Spain, threatens punishment through tariffs. Once the future king, President DJT, has again put Spain in the spotlight in some Tuesday afternoon comments, which were again included the threat of economic isolation and punishment. He went so far to call out the NATO country for being very disrespectful. I'm very unhappy with Spain. They're the only country that didn't raise up their number to 5%. Every other country in NATO raised up to 5%. It wouldn't matter if you said you're not going to protect them because they're pretty much protected, What you're going to do? Go through the other countries and let's go attack Spain, right? Then he questioned, so I think what they did is not nice. I think it's very disrespectful to NATO. And that's when Trump threatened. In fact, I was thinking about giving them a trade punishment through tariffs because of what they did. And I may do that. I think they should be punished for that, yes. Where's Chat George at? George AI. Hey, what do you think about that one, Georgie? Secretary Bessent, or the MAGA version of Pete Buttigieg, the Soros other team playing guy, Bessent, just revealed how determined he is to dismantle the far left groups funding domestic extremism. I will tell you that Charlie's death is like a domestic 9/11. That should raise some flags. We have started to compile a list, put together networks, and there's a long record here. Powerful words from Soros guy who's now the secretary. Finally, someone else gets it. Bessent was a 20-plus year George Soros acolyte. Some of you are blanking. I think as a Jew, he's no friend of conservatives. What is this? It's Scott. Yeah, Scott worked for George Soros. Yeah. The funny thing is, most people that wear the red hat do not care about that. Here's the Hill. NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory laying off hundreds. You can expect to see some mail in your mailboxes again, but not on a regular basis or regular schedule. This is from Canada. Oh, Canada. With the Thanksgiving long weekend over, last weekend in Canada was Thanksgiving, Canadians can expect to see some mail moving in their mailboxes again, but not on a regular basis or schedule. That's because the union representing Canada Post workers have shifted its strike action to rotating stoppages, which started on Saturday. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers, CUPW, which represents 55,000 workers, says the move is aimed at minimizing disruptions as negotiations with Canada Post continue. Rotating strikes in Dawson's Creek. I didn't know Dawson's Creek was in British Columbia. I never watched Dawson's Creek. I thought that was a United show in the States or something. Was that a Canadian? Mel Gibson faces backlash after blasphemous recast in Passion of the Christ sequel. I didn't know this was blasphemy to recast. Apparently, you can't recast anybody in a movie, or it's blasphemy now. I mean, where was everybody during the John Connor getting killed thing? That was. What do you got, candlesticks? Eric Trump said his dad and their family are saving Christianity, saving God. Yes, I know. They are completely crazy, or you know what crazy. Catholics should recognize what's really going on. The enemy is after the elect. Yeah, it's the I mean, you saw Israel calling him Cyrus. Canadian Mail is really bad. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch with a new hit single called Canadian Mail is Really Bad, coming out this winter. Following the final 12 hours that led up to the death of Jesus Christ, including the arrest, trial, and crucifixion, the film starred Jim Caviezel as the Messiah, Maya Morgenstern as the Mother Mary, and Monica Bellucci as Mary Magdalene. Although the screenplay was based on the Gospels, it did face the wrath of many who said his violence was too graphic and called it anti-Semitic. What do we know about the sequel? 2 years, we already talked about this. Speaking of two scripts, asked about concerns why so much time has passed. He said last year there were plans of using technology in order to see the main cast return. What has happened to the cast? They got older. Called time. Why don't you punish me? At the Hootie, if you know Hootie, yeah. At the time, Gibson had confirmed that Caviezel 57 would reprise the role, explaining how CGI and special effects would be utilized to make him appear the same age as he was in the original, was filmed 2 decades ago. However, this week it was announced he has been cut from the film entirely, with a younger actor set to take over. As first reported by Variety, Finnish actor Jaakko Otan will now be playing Christ. The main cast of the film, blah, blah, blah. We already know this. Source told the agent would have been very costly. How have fans reacted? Recasting Jesus is blasphemous work, Edward declared on X. Disappointing news. I've been waiting forever for this movie. What, you didn't know how it was going to end? I won't be the same without a truly devout and believing actor playing Jesus. Caviezel's personal faith was evident in every moment of the passion, Kristen shared. That's a shame. Caviezel was superb. He was. It's also 20 years later. Many others pointed out the irony of casting a Nordic actor as a Middle Eastern man. Another white Jesus? I'll pass, one quipped. However, other people said they were still optimistic the sequel could live up to the original. No kidding. Too bad about Caviezel, but I was concerned that de-aging him may negatively affect the film's quality. This seems like the right approach. The common sense. Good pick. At least the resemblance to Jim isn't too far off. He is a male. He has black hair. He has 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth. Yes, he kind of resembles. Amazed anyone is a surprise, especially given the quality of de-aging tech. Just go a little through it. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of old. I mean, I don't know. Does it really matter? No scrubs. Washing machine for humans rinses your whole body inside a giant pod and even plays movies while you wait. This is not The Onion. This was hysterical just because of the title. Right-wing Argentina President Javier Milei is ecstatic to see once a future king President DJT at the White House. 47 was just overseas, blah, 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 blah. And I wrote Eric, if the guy was giving me $20 million bailout, I'd be excited too. I mean, he's ecstatic. Well, why wouldn't he be? Here's $20 billion. I'm sorry, $20 billion. They're giving him $20 billion just for being alive. I'd be happy too, wouldn't you? I was hoping Steve would play the role in the film. Yeah. Mark, step away from the paint thinner. Okay, thank you. Yeah, for the rest of the show, just leave the paint thinner on the sidelines, okay? I couldn't play Parcheesi, much less some movie. U.S. approves new bank backed by billionaires with ties to DJT. Target market for Arober will be businesses that are part of America's innovation economy. From the Wall Street Journal, blue states are setting up a shadow public health alliance to counter RFKJ. Initiative aims to help states detect and respond to disease threats in light of the public health funding cuts under Trump. Oh, so states, you got to be like states again. Shocker. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Governors across 15 states, including New York, California, North Kakalaki, are forming a new public health alliance to detect and respond to disease threats, saying federal funding cost cuts and policy changes by the Trump administration are putting their citizens at risk and forcing them to find alternatives, like anything that the government doesn't do. Hey, I'm fine with that. They have states do their own thing. They want to get groups together, fine by me. 15 governors represent about 115 million people, or about a third of the entire U.S. population. They said they hope to recruit more governors, particularly Republicans, to address health concerns. A nonprofit group. It's really just about public health. Good. Cut the federal agencies. Let the states do their own thing. Good idea. I'm all for that. Grocery prices keep rising. Frustrated consumers are trying to adapt. Record beef prices and coffee that cost $1 more per pound since May have shoppers cutting back on some foods, stockpiling others. My wife went into the grocery store today and said the chicken was $13, so we didn't get chicken today. And shoot, every time you go into the grocery store, it's $100 just to get 2 bags. During a recent trip to the supermarket, Kelvin Lynn was surprised to see the price of a ribeye steak had jumped to $32.99 a pound. It had been several dollars cheaper 2 weeks earlier. That's why I haven't had a steak in probably a couple of years. Lynn, a 33-year-old software engineer who lives in New York City, yes, New York City, complained to the butcher, but ended up buying the steak anyway. Hey, there's some pricing. I'm like, did I read that right? $9,000 for a tuna? No. And by the way, the gaslight everybody. Here's Donald Trump saying, as you know, groceries are down. It's all down. Yeah. Gas is $1.98 a gallon, $3.24. Oh, that's funny. Yes, he really said that. Trump has really said groceries are down. It's all down. There are 4 lights when there's 3. And the cheerleaders won't say anything about it. Florida's housing market is flashing a warning for the rest of the U.S. If you don't know, I keep up with the Florida housing, and they are just getting down the road, just tanking. Le combat. I'm ready to be king of France. Macron has brought republic to ruin, says direct descendant of guillotined Louis XVI. The 51-year-old is seen by many in France as the rightful claimant to the throne, which hasn't been used since the monarchy was abolished in 1792. The Senate of former French King Louis XVI has vowed to serve his country if France wants to return to royalty amid huge pressure on the government. Louis de Bourbon says he is dismayed by the current state of French politics under Emmanuel Macron, and he was forced to appoint a 6th prime minister in the space of 2 years earlier this month. Bourbon, known as Louis XX, spoke to the Journal de Dimanche newspaper about his readiness to serve France in the face of governing classes' negligence. He explained the political, institutional, and social state of our country continues to worsen. I consider it my role as head of the House of Bourbon and heir of the dynasty that made France to speak on the issue. At the moment of decision, I hope that the monarchical legacy of which I am the trustee is still sufficiently vibrant in the heart of my compatriots to be a source of inspiration, and I must say hope. The 51-year-old is seen by many in France as the rightful claimant to the throne, which hasn't been used. We already said that. Bourbon's path to the throne goes through the late king due to Louis being the father of Philip V of Spain. He is now the oldest male heir, meaning if France was to return to a monarchy at any time, he would be viewed as the first in line. Some are even calling for the 6th Republic to be formed. The idea of bringing back King and Queen of Paris has gained some traction in recent months amid political turmoil. On October 6th, Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu resigned after just 27 days in office. And under pressure, Macron had only appointed Lecornu less than a month earlier, making him his 5th prime minister in the space of 2 years. Shocking move, blah, blah, blah. Anything else on there? Macron, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Care, despite terms. Balthasar spirit, the history of peace stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I was reading some of you guys' quotes in there. Walking is good for you. Walking backwards can add to the benefits. Hey, did you know? Scientists have come out saying Walking is good for you. I, who knew? But it was on hush hush. Don't tell them. Walking is good for them. They might do it. Walking is good for you. Seriously, they wrote an article about this. And then I was, try walking backwards. Okay, can you imagine a bunch of old people walking backwards? Be 911 calls everywhere. We got a 1011 broken hip down on Main Street. Everyone's falling back. Yeah, falling backwards is not. You see old people doing their arm, the power, they're lifting up and they're walking, or the arms going up and down, just fall down on each other. It'd be mass hysterical. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. World could be ruled by trillionaires club of wealth elite, boosting 12-0 fortunes. Elon Musk is predicted to become the world's first trillionaire by 2027, and by 2050, well, there's a year we've heard of before. There will be 30 of them ruling the world, according to a warning in a new book. Trump administration authorizes covert CIA action in Venezuela. The development comes as the U.S. military is drawing up options for, once a future king, President DJT, the peace president, to consider including possible strikes inside the country. Because, when we say peace, we really mean we destroy other people. That's part of the peace thing. Peace means you just start bombing other people because the Dayans and why. At least one U.S. military strike on alleged drug trafficking boat in Caribbean targeted Colombians. We mentioned that earlier this week, last week. Speaking of bombing people, let's check out War Pigs. Governors down in their masses. Trump, we may have to disarm Hamas violently, says the peace president. U.S. says Hamas is not violating Gaza's ceasefire deal. Israel forces continue to kill Palestinians, though, in Gaza, despite ceasefire. Hamas is not violating ceasefire, but Israel is. But we're fine with that. UN countries have committed $70 billion to rebuild Gaza in their image and likeness. There will be Jewish settlements in Gaza, mapping the rise of Israeli settler attacks across the West Bank. 9,000 Palestinians remain in Israel jails after Gaza prisoner swap. 9,000 Palestinians remain in Israeli jails after Gaza prisoner swap. So while you're seeing the reports, they haven't brought one person over, there's 9,000 more in Israeli jails. But forget about it. No. Ukraine pushes U.S. for less talks, more weapons. Kiel Institute, sharp decrease in Western support for Ukraine. NATO looking for more flexible rules of engagement with Russia. U.S. bombs another boat in Venezuela. 6 killed. Kurdish SDF sees integration a step towards unity. Still thinking about falling backwards, huh? Members of Congress growing concerned over lack of information from administration about Venezuela strike, sources said. Republicans and Democrats say the administration is failing to share basic information with Congress about the intelligence, rationale, and goals of its war on drug trafficking, because it's not about drug trafficking. It's about getting their oil. Come on now. The drones are coming. Where's George AI? Prepare for Russian kamikaze drones to swarm skies over Britain. Government warned as Iranian weapon is unveiled in Parliament. Poland's Foreign Minister Radek Sikorski said that a gap in Europe's defenses has been exposed. Sweden to begin stockpiling food for the first time since the Cold War. Can someone just do the Russia thing? Can we consecrate Russia? Anybody just want to do it? Again, we tried the world, nothing's happened. Can we do a mulligan, one time? Hey, why not? Might be a good idea for everyone else to think about that too. At least get some, seeds so that you can. In the winter coming up, it's going to be hard to do anything right now. It's more like a lettuce, kale. You think of Nebraska, in a sense, anything greens type deal. Carrots will do some. Potatoes you kind of can, not too much, depending on where you are in the zones. You're almost kind of hosed. You'd have to, the further up the north you get, you're going to have to do something maybe with a greenhouse. You get a greenhouse. You can do a pop-up greenhouse that Amazon has easily. It's like $100 for a big one. put a little heater in there. You can grow anything you want after that. Literally, you can have citrus in there. You can be in Massachusetts or say Colorado with 3 feet of snow. You have a greenhouse with a heater inside that thing. You can have apple trees or orange trees, pineapple, whatever. My pineapple looks great out there. I can't wait to see a fruit from it. Ended up having just about 7 strawberries picked off this morning. ICE is cracking down on Chicago. Some Chicagoans are fighting back. Residents have begun forming volunteer groups to monitor their neighborhoods for federal immigration agents who are dressed like they're evading Ramadi. Others honk their horns or blow whistles when they see agents nearby. Yeah, no, I'm fine with it. You got local home. You're home. This is your home, and you got these guys coming in. You got invasion on both ends. Hey, depending on what you're at, I'm fine with people defending their homeland. Call me crazy. LA County Board approves emergency declaration over immigration raids. I'll just bring in the feds. El Paso family claims Border Patrol killed their dog during search, CBP reviewing incident. El Paso, Texas, U.S. Borders and Patrol Protection says they're reviewing a use of force incident in El Paso after a family says a Border Patrol agent unjustly shot and killed their dog. I don't know what kind of dog it was. It was a terrier? Anyways. It was a Rottweiler. Chopped the Rottweiler away from the bathroom before they walked in, as a dog could be aggressive. Yeah, they're very protective of their families. We had a Rottweiler growing up. We left the house, the doors unlocked for him. He was able to pop the door in and out, came and go anything we want. Remember two guys that were coming to fix the air conditioner one time, get out of their car. Bucky comes flying out of the door in between my mom and the guys. I've never seen 2 guys run so fast back to their car. And all he did was wanting to lick. He was like drooling for me, wanting to lick him. But you didn't know any better, he was terrifying. ICE detains parents of U.S. Marine in San Diego. Father later deported. The couple's children told NBC7 their parents were taken into custody by U.S. ICE while trying to visit their pregnant daughter on Camp Pendleton. There's a little thing. Hopefully they won't ban me for just block the video for just playing the video from NBC. I was just trying to see if they had a photo image of the. Anyways, U.S. ICE detained his parents at Camp Pendleton before releasing them with ankle monitors and directing them to check in with the agency. When they checked in a few days later, ICE detained them again, and on Friday, his father was deported. The Marine told NBC7. I'm trying to see if they get a little family photo. Yeah, he does look like MS-13. Doesn't he look like MS-13? He looks like, no, trained air Walker. Now that's it. Because we're going after the most violent people. Remember? I mean, got to go after the most violent. That's what they told us. The sales pitch was they're going after the most violent of people. ICE raids Walgreens in Chicago because, when I think of MS-13, I think of not only Lowe's, because you got to get the best deal for wood. I also think of Walgreens. Older white agent tackles black man to the ground, arrests him for running. He's a citizen. He's American. The woman yells, "He's my brother-in-law." Store location was forced to close because of everything with ICE. Manager told the rest of the customers, quote, "This is crazy." He said they're closed for some ICE stuff going on. Another woman explains, "I'm just trying to get some dishwasher liquid." Again, what I said yesterday, and a lot of other people have said, we're fine going after the illegals. You want to get the illegals? Fine, go for it. Enforce the law and all that. It's the way people are doing it that is kind of going, hey, time out. What's the deal here? I mean, like the burrito thing. Are you going to throw this guy in the ICE burrito? Did I have that later? I thought I did. Yeah. Oops, I didn't mean to have that there. Let's see. Here is a video from James Lee on the Charlie Kirk assassination. They knew before it happened. And the reason why he's saying this is go ahead and check out the video if you want. Not just the plane. Where was it? It was the search results. This is the search results for Tyler Robinson. And this is after, but before it, the day before, a couple days before, there was a couple blips on his name. And so they were going, where did that come from? Who was doing the searching for his name days before that happened? And there was another one about it. What was it? I have to look. He was talking. Oh, it was the gun. It was the type of weapon that had a big kick right beforehand too. So it was kind of an interesting thing that they brought that up. Tommy Robinson. I don't know if you guys know of Tommy Robinson in the United Kingdom. He's everyone's beloved darling about what's going on fighting the Muslims out there. He's also a big time Zionist on the payroll. He's a shill. He's somebody you should not listen to because he's using the people in the UK. And there was a guy at the gym's like, I love Tommy. I go, you better look up at Tommy. The Tommy's on the payroll for probably Mossad agent. And as I've arrived in beautiful nation of Israel, thank you for the invite. I'm honored to be here and looking forward to meeting as many people as possible. A country with strong patriotic leadership like Benjamin Netanyahu. And you, like I say, if you look deeper into Tommy Robinson, you'll find I couldn't post a lot of things because there was too much cussing involved. Shocking video shows masked ICE agent tackling. I had this up there in the thing. Sorry for the thing. Sorry for the doubles. Let's see. The victim was identified by ABC as 19-year-old Southside native Warren G. Regulators, mount up. King said that ICE agents ran into the store, appeared as though they were looking for someone. And when he called for backup, other people came in, and that's when I start to leave. King explained. It comes after an out of control ICE agent yelled a disgusting insult before shooting a woman 5 times. If I'm in there trying to get something like diapers or something, I see ICE agents coming around. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe you walk out, you're like, you know what? I'll go somewhere else. And then you get tackled. Benjamin Netanyahu is also a native of Philadelphia. I think it's Pennsylvania. I think he went to high school in Philadelphia, I think it was. Pete Hegseth's plane makes emergency landing in the UK. A flight carrying U.S. Secretary of War. Pete Hegseth has been forced to land in RAF Mendenhall due to a crack in the windshield of the plane. Israel's rage over mystery body handed over by Hamas. That's not a hostage. The U.S. proposed ceasefire plan that called for all hostages, living and dead, to be handed over by the deadline that expired on Monday, except for those 9,000 that's still in jail. They get to stay in jail. Sam Altman says ChatGPT will soon sex text with verified adults. Yay. Man stores AI generated robot porn on his government computer, loses access to nuclear secrets. Okay. And in local news, Charlotte-based duo has entertained radio audiences across the country for decades, will soon be off the air. The Big Show with John Boy and Billy will end on December 31st. The job posted by Midwest Communications confirmed. They've been doing it since 1980. I listened to them when they were on Classic Rock. Classic Rock 101.1 used to have them. They were always on the Classic Rock channel. If you have a Classic Rock channel around your area, if you get in a car or use a radio, it's those little dials on there. They might be on Sirius, I guess. But John Boy and Billy, the Big Show. Southern pride right there. On this day, 1959, final conference on Antarctic Treaty happened today in 1959. 2003, China became the third country to launch a crewed space flight, orbited Earth 14 times. There's a 21-hour flight. 1993, South Africans Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk were named the recipients of Nobel Peace Prize. 1987, military coup in Burkina Faso overthrew head of state Thomas Sankara, killing him and 8 others. 1969, the president, I'm not even going to try that, of Somalia was assassinated. Trump probably going, man, they got them before I did. Bad joke. 1966, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale founded the Black Panther Party, the mission of which was to protect African Americans from police brutality. It later developed into a Marxist revolutionary group that, among other things, called for the arming of African Americans and the release of blacks from jail. 1951, the first episode of I Love Lucy aired. 1940, the comedy classic The Great Dictator premiered in New York City. New York City. Yes, New York City. Charlie Chaplin's biggest box office success had satirized Adolf Hitler and Nazism and condemned anti-Semitism. 1934, Chinese communists begun the long march, the 6,000-mile trek that resulted in the relocation of the communist revolutionary base from southeast China to northwest China, and the emergence of Mao Zedong as the undisputed champion of the, as the undisputed leader of the CCP. 1928, some 4 hours after leaving Germany, the Zeppelin landed in Lakehurst, New Jersey, completing its first transatlantic trip. 1917, Dutch dancer and courtesan Mata Hari was executed by the French near Paris, charged with spying for Germany during World War I. 1844, a classical scholar and philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, I guess they really like this guy, one of the most influential of all modern thinkers, was born in Prussia. 1839, encouraged by her uncle Leopold, Queen Victoria of England proposed to her cousin Prince Albert. Proposed, huh? See, that has happened. It's not just a leap year thing. Blue Jays are in sports. Blue Jays are beating the Mariners 12-2. It's not even a game. What inning is that? 879. Bozo convoked the bishops of Providence and had them proclaim their king. In 70 BC, Virgil, the Roman poet best known for his national epic, the Aeneid, was born near Mantua. What inning? 7th inning. So they got, hey, the crazier things have happened. Have hope. If you're an M's fan, if you're a Fisherman fan, you still have hope. Blue Jays going to win. Anyways, God love you. Have a great rest of the night. See you guys tomorrow. Like, subscribe, hit the jazz, comment underneath. What else I was going to say? Spidelian.tv for the app. That's all I got. Oh, check out again, iCatholic Mobile. Get your phone transferred to their product. I think we're trying to work on getting the app on their site too. So you go on there, you get the app with the subscription. Anyways, have a great rest of the day. God love you. Rest of the night. Talk to you later. See you tomorrow.